Manifestation isn't magic, right? Your brain is literally designed to reflect what you repeatedly believe, focus on, and emotionally identify with. Okay? Once you understand the psychology behind it, the 3D reality starts to make a lot more sense. Okay, so I'm going to explain this using actual psychology so that you can actually get your manifestations, because some of you are out here trying to change your life while you internalize your old identity instead of your new one. Okay, so basically, what is the 3D? The manifestation community constantly talks about the 3D. So basically what 3D is what your current reality is right now. What you see, what you hear, what you experience right now. Okay? And the problem is most people react to the 3D emotionally without actually understanding why it exists. Your 3D is basically just your current repeated thoughts, your emotional patterns, beliefs, and your identity. Your brain is designed to love familiarity. Okay, so even if your current identity is unhealthy, your current reality, is unhealthy, it's stressful, it's toxic, your brain, that is what your brain knows as familiar, and therefore will think that that is what is safe and will keep you there until you start challenging it with your new identity. Right? And basically why that happens is actually because of something called homeostasis, and that's basically your brain and your body constantly returning to whatever feels normal, even if it's bad for you. Okay, so then I'm going to break it down with 3 things. Number 1 being cognitive dissonance. The reason why manifestation feels normal is because of cognitive dissonance. And cognitive dissonance is a psychological concept that basically means it's basically what happens when your current beliefs and your new identity clash. Okay, so basically, for example, let's say that you're affirming that I'm confident, I'm successful, I'm worthy, I'm a millionaire, I'm all these things. But deep down, your identity still believes that you're not enough, that you're not deserving, that you're not worthy, right? So your brain is going to notice the contradiction, and that's basically what makes you feel uncomfortable. That is why you feel uncomfortable, because your old identity and your new identity are clashing, because they're vastly opposites, right? So that discomfort, it doesn't mean that your manifestation is failing or you're doing something wrong. That discomfort is basically just your brain deciding which one is true, your old identity or the new one. And that's where a lot of people, this is the phase where a lot of people end up giving up on manifestation, because they see that discomfort as failure, when it's just your brain kind of having a clash between these 2 identities, right? So let's say someone's been rejected their whole life. Being loved properly and safely can actually feel unsafe for them at first. That doesn't mean that they don't deserve this healthy relationship or they shouldn't be in this healthy relationship, because they are so used to, their old identity is so used to and rooted in not being loved, not being cared for, not being considered, not being accepted and understood. When they actually attract something like that, a relationship so safe and pure, it can actually feel very unsafe for them, because their body isn't used to receiving that. Okay, so basically their nervous system isn't used to being safe. It isn't used to being held and accepted and loved and cared for. That's why they'll feel unsafe and uncomfortable at first. Then we've got the reticular activating system, which is RAS for short. Now let's talk about why you focus on why the focus matters so much, and that's basically on what your brain. So your brain has something that's called the RAS, right? And that acts as a filter. It decides what information gets your attention. Like I used in the previous video with the red car. The red cars were always there until you started thinking about a red car and you start seeing it. Your RAS is what's making you see it, right? So let's say that you want a certain car. When you want a certain car, you're manifesting a certain car, you start seeing it everywhere. The car was always there. You just started noticing it more because of the RAS. It is basically a filter, and it's going to show you what your brain prioritizes as important. So if your brain categorizes something as important, your RAS is going to make sure that you focus more on that. Okay, so that's basically also what happens with self-concept. If you have this type of self-concept and identity that nobody chooses you, nobody loves you, your RAS is going to prove you right. It's going to filter the things that people do to you and say to you to prove that belief right. Okay, so when your focus changes, your brain starts noticing opportunities, connections, and behaviors that align with your new identity of you being worthy, of you being loved, of you being chosen, of you being deserving. You start attracting opportunities, people, and environments that align with that because of your RAS. Because your brain is always searching for proof of who you think you are. That's why your self-concept is so important. Then we've got your CBT, right? This is where manifestation and psychology really overlap the most. And that is a theory approach called cognitive behavioral therapy. Okay, and that's based on the idea that your thoughts affect your emotions affect your behaviors, and your behaviors affect your outcomes. Okay, that sounds very familiar, doesn't it? If someone constantly thinks I'm unlovable, right? They're going to self-sabotage, they're going to overthink, they're going to avoid vulnerability, they're going to accept poor treatment, right? Because that's what they internalize, right? So those behaviors reinforce their original beliefs of them being unlovable and nobody choosing them and nobody just wanting to be with them. So your CBT, it helps people identify those thought patterns, challenge them, and then replace them, right? So manifestation often works similarly in the sense that changing your internal assumptions, changing your identity, and repeating new beliefs until they feel natural. So now that I've explained CBT, cognitive dissonance, and your RAS, manifestation, now you can understand that manifestation isn't pretending that your reality doesn't exist. It's basically just understanding that your mind influences what you notice, how you behave, what you expect, and what you unconsciously allow. If your old identity constantly notices people being rude to you and disrespecting you, your brain is going to show you proof of that. If how you behave as somebody who doesn't take care of themselves, somebody who doesn't love themselves, your brain is going to keep showing you proof that that is true. If what you expect is for people to disrespect you, people to treat you poorly, people to speak ill of you, people to just not want to be around you, your RAS is going to filter it and prove you right every single time. And that is going to basically influence what you unconsciously allow, which ends up being the poor treatment, people not choosing you, people not loving you, people not accepting you and understanding you. The moment you start challenging your old identity with your new identity, then your RAS is going to filter different things around you. The same way you manifest a car, you start seeing it everywhere. You manifest getting married, everybody's getting married around you. You manifest graduating, everybody's graduating. All of a sudden now it's graduation season. You manifest starting your own business, you see businesses blooming, stuff like that, right? So when your old identity, even if it's unhealthy and stressful and toxic, your brain will always return back to what feels familiar, even if it's unsafe to you. And the moment you start challenging it with something new, those two are going to clash. But that discomfort, that uncomfortable feeling is not failure. It's good. It's good, my babe. Carry on. Don't stop. Please don't stop, okay? Because now you are challenging the old identity to a point where the new identity will start feeling familiar, will start feeling safe, and your body will always return to that. That is where your baseline will end up being, this new identity that you want. So constantly showing up for yourself, constantly keeping promises to yourself builds said new identity. So your goal isn't to force yourself to believe something overnight. The goal is repetition, familiarity, until it becomes so natural and safe that you start expecting things that your new identity would expect, like respect and love and care. Once it starts feeling natural, reality will show up, it will catch up with you, and it will prove you right. So you choose which reality is proving you right. The old one that feels unsafe and just toxic and stressful, or the new one where life is easy and opportunities come to you, and you attract friends and a lover that genuinely care for you. You and only you can filter that. Okay? So I want you to try that and let me know how it goes. I love you. Mwah. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.